The Herbert Schirmer abduction, Nebraska's government-documented case, a police sergeant's routine patrol, ended with missing time, a government investigation, and unexplained physical evidence on his body. Highway 6 stretches through the flatlands of eastern Nebraska, a ribbon of asphalt cutting through fields and small farming communities. In December 1967, this quiet roadway becomes the setting for one of the most thoroughly documented encounters in American UAP history. What distinguishes this case from thousands of other reported sightings is not merely the credibility of the witness or the strangeness of the account, but the fact that it receives investigation and documentation by the official United States government body charged with studying such phenomena. The encounter transforms a small-town police officer into a reluctant participant in a mystery that produces physical evidence, official records, and questions that remain unanswered more than 5 decades later. Police Sergeant Herbert Schirmer conducts routine patrol duties in Ashland, Nebraska, a town of fewer than 1,500 residents situated between Omaha and Lincoln. The early morning hours of December 3, 1967 unfold like countless other nights in his law enforcement career. He checks businesses, monitors the quiet streets, and drives the highways that border the small community. His patrol car rolls along Highway 6, approaching the junction with Highway 63 just outside town limits. The time is approximately 2:30 in the morning. Schirmer observes what he initially assumes to be a truck ahead on the roadway, its lights creating unusual patterns in the darkness. As his patrol car draws closer, the object's true nature becomes apparent. This is no truck. The lights belong to a disc-shaped craft hovering near the highway junction, its surface reflecting the ambient light, red lights flashing in a pattern across its structure. Schirmer slows his vehicle, observing the object through his windshield. The craft rises silently from its position, ascending without sound, without exhaust, without any indication of conventional propulsion. It departs into the night sky. The police sergeant returns to the station and makes an entry in his logbook. The notation is matter of fact, devoid of elaboration. Saw a UFO at the junction of Highways 6 and 63. He records the time of the entry. Later, when reviewing the timeline of his patrol, an inconsistency emerges. The time he records is 20 minutes later than his own recollection accounts for. 20 minutes have vanished from his memory, leaving only a gap in his conscious recall of the night's events. Schirmer reports his sighting through official channels. The report reaches the University of Colorado UFO Project, commonly known as the Condon Committee after its director, physicist Edward Condon. This committee represents the final official investigation of UAP reports conducted by the United States government, operating under contract with the Air Force. The committee's mandate is to assess whether these phenomena warrant continued scientific study. Among the hundreds of cases the committee examines, the Schirmer encounter draws particular attention due to the credibility of the witness and the documented missing time. The committee arranges for Schirmer to undergo hypnotic regression, a technique employed in some psychological and investigative contexts to access memories that may be obscured or suppressed. Dr. Leo Sprinkle, a psychologist from the University of Wyoming working with the Condon Committee, conducts the sessions. The hypnosis sessions are recorded, the transcripts preserved in the committee's official files. What emerges under hypnosis transforms the simple sighting into something far more complex. Under hypnotic state, Schirmer recalls additional details beyond his conscious memory of observing the craft depart. He describes the craft landing on the highway. A gangway extends from the object. Beings emerge and descend the gangway, approaching his patrol car. He recalls being taken from his vehicle and brought aboard the craft. The beings are humanoid in general form, but distinctly non-human in appearance. They wear close-fitting uniforms. One approaches him with a device. Inside the craft, Schirmer is shown what the beings describe as their propulsion system. Large copper-colored vanes rotate or operate within the craft's structure. The beings explain that the system draws energy from Earth's magnetic field, using these veins to interact with the planet's natural electromagnetic environment. This technology allows the craft to operate without conventional fuel or visible propulsion mechanisms. The explanation comes through communication that Schirmer perceives as direct, though whether this occurs through spoken language or some other means remains unclear in his recall. The beings provide information about their operations. They maintain bases at various locations around the world. They have been observing Earth's civilization for reasons they do not fully elaborate. Schirmer is shown a view screen displaying different geographic locations, though he cannot identify all of them with certainty. The beings tell him that he has been selected for contact, that this encounter will not be his only experience with them, that future interactions will occur. Throughout the experience, Schirmer feels disoriented, his normal sense of control and agency diminished. At one point during the encounter, a device touches his neck. The sensation is distinct, memorable even under hypnosis. When the experience concludes, Schirmer finds himself back in his patrol car. The craft departs silently. He drives to the station and makes his logbook entry, consciously remembering only the sighting and departure, not the intervening events that hypnosis later reveals. Physical evidence emerges in the days following the encounter. Schirmer develops a visible welt on his neck, precisely at the location where he recalled being touched by the device during the encounter, remembered under hypnosis. Photographs document this mark. Medical examination finds no conventional explanation for the welt's appearance. The mark provides tangible physical evidence that something occurred, even if the exact nature of that something remains disputed. The Condon Committee includes the Schirmer case in its final report, published in 1969. The documentation is more detailed than most cases in the committee's sample. The hypnotic regression transcripts, the witness testimony, and the physical evidence all appear in the official record. However, the committee's overall conclusion about UAP phenomena is negative. The final report states that continued scientific study of such phenomena is not warranted, a conclusion that proves highly controversial among researchers and generates debate that continues for decades. Despite the committee's overall skepticism, the Schirmer case carries weight that civilian-investigated cases cannot claim. It has been examined and documented by an official government investigation body. The hypnotic regression was conducted by a credentialed psychologist working under the committee's auspices. The physical evidence was photographed and examined. Whatever one concludes about the interpretation of these events, the documentation itself is institutional and official. Researcher Brad Steiger subsequently investigates the case independently, publishing additional documentation and interviews with Schirmer. The case attracts attention in UAP research circles as an example of the contact narrative, a category of encounters where beings allegedly provide information about their origins, operations, or intentions. This narrative structure becomes increasingly common in abduction accounts documented in subsequent decades, though the Schirmer case represents one of the earlier thoroughly documented examples. The aftermath of the encounter profoundly affects Schirmer's life. He describes the experience and its recall as deeply disorienting. The psychological impact extends into the months and years following the event. He leaves his position with the Ashland Police Department. His marriage ends. He attributes these life disruptions to the psychological burden of what he experienced and subsequently recalled under hypnosis. Whether the hypnotic memories represent accurate recall of actual events or constitute some form of psychological artifact remains debated, but the impact on Schirmer's life is documented and undeniable. No physical traces are found at the highway junction where Schirmer observed the craft. The silent departure leaves no burn marks, no ground impressions, no electromagnetic signatures that investigators can measure after the fact. The only physical evidence remains the welt on Schirmer's neck, documented in photographs unexplained by conventional medical assessment. The case occupies a unique position in American UAP history. It represents the intersection of official government investigation, credible law enforcement witness testimony, documented missing time, detailed hypnotic regression conducted under institutional auspices, and physical evidence that appears in official photographs and reports. No other case in the Condon Committee's investigation combines all these elements. The committee's ultimate dismissal of UAP as unworthy of further study does not erase the documentation it produced, and the Schirmer case remains preserved in that official record. Decades after that December night on Highway 6, researchers continue to examine the case. The transcripts remain available. The photographs of the neck welt exist in archives. The official documentation provides a foundation that cannot be dismissed as merely anecdotal. Whether one interprets the experience as genuine contact with non-human intelligence, as psychological phenomenon elaborated through hypnosis, or as something else entirely, the case resists simple dismissal. Something happened to Herbert Schirmer on that highway outside Ashland, Nebraska. The missing time is documented. The physical mark is photographed. The official investigation is recorded. The craft rose silently into the night sky above the Nebraska plains, leaving behind questions that official investigation could document but not answer, physical evidence that photographs could preserve but not explain, and one police officer whose life changed irrevocably on a routine patrol along a quiet highway. If you found this case compelling, subscribe to Vanishing Roads for more documented paranormal investigations from around the world. This story was created with AI assistance based on documented case files. All events reference real investigations and reported incidents.